What is going on, guys? It is the one and only Who Dad Davis here for you. And as always, if you guys don't know, you will know that over here we bleed black and gold, dead and cold. Thank you guys very much for checking out this edition of the Black and Gold Breakdown podcast. And if you guys have noticed, I am not joined by my co-host, the Saints Queen of Saints Twitter, Nicole. It's because I wanted to do this podcast by myself today. No disrespect to Nicole. I honestly, I love her. She's my fire to my ice over here on B&G Breakdown podcast. So be a regular thing. Expect Nicole to be back in the next live stream of B&G Breakdown podcast. I will have her back here as my co-host next time. Believe that. She is always welcome here, as is everybody else who wants to call in. And we will be taking callers today, which is another reason why I wanted to do this solo. I'm going to be putting the link down in the comment section in the chat. Let everybody call in, get their thoughts out there after I've said my piece. And I have a lot to talk about. I was supposed to have done a post-game show regarding the Saints and the Bucks earlier in the week, but some things IRL took my attention away, and I had some PC issues, so we couldn't get to that. So I'm going to get with that today. Starting today, a quick wrap-up of Saints and Bucks. Then we're going to get into the latest news regarding the COVID outbreak, and then we're going to talk about the matchup this Monday night against the Miami Dolphins. So we're going to be talking pretty consistently here tonight, So make sure you guys hit that comment section up, hit that chat. Make sure you hit me up with your questions. If you guys have any questions you want me to answer here on live, and then we'll close it out by opening up the phone lines, let you guys call in and get your opinions and your questions out there in person. If you guys don't want to put them down in the chat below, which is honestly fine. But before all that, if you guys don't mind, I have requests, you know what I'm saying? For guys who don't know, I am a contributor to League of Justice. It is a new upcoming sports website where law impacts sports. I have been contributing to League of Justice, headed by legal analyst Amy Dash. If you guys don't know who Amy Dash is, please research her. She is a positive spirit. She is very knowledgeable on the law and how it impacts the world of sports, whether it be football, soccer, basketball. If it's sports and if it has law influencing it, then Amy Dash and League of Justice are all over it. I have my own little exclusive column over there called Dats Davis. I will be putting my latest articles down in the description after, from now going forward, right? So if you guys don't mind, please go support League of Justice, because your boy Dats Davis is over there with his exclusive column. I will be writing pretty extensively regarding this COVID outbreak and how it impacts the New Orleans Saints. So please, one more time, if you guys haven't already, check out League of Justice. If you guys don't follow me on Twitter, check out leagueofjustice.com and go support it, because Dats Davis, your boy, is a contributor there, and he writes articles. I have quite a few articles listed down there already, and I have 2 more I'm hoping to push out before the week is done. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. If you guys don't even want to, that's fine. You guys can support me in other ways by just being here, being a viewer of the podcast on here on YouTube. There are other ways you guys can support me. If you guys don't want to go over to League of Justice, it's completely fine. But for those of you who want to, it is leagueofjustice.com. I will put links to my articles down in the description of every video going forward, as of until something happens. I'm no longer a part of what they got going on in terms of that platform. But with all that being said, it is seriously time to get down with the breakdown. Let's go ahead and talk about the Sunday night matchup between the Saints and the Tampa Bay Bucks. And honestly, I could not believe the Saints ended up. Look, man, the Saints ended up beating Tampa 9-0. I went into that game expecting the Bucks to win by a favor of 4. And the Saints came away with a dub. No, we're not going to be talking about no videos here on the podcast. But no, the Saints, in all seriousness, they came away with an unbelievable 9-0 shutout win. It was a defensive masterpiece put together by acting head coach, defensive coordinator Dennis Allen. Shouts out to Dennis Allen, and this may be his last season as a New Orleans Saints defensive coordinator. And I couldn't even be mad if that's the case. It would be painful to see that guy go, but he's obviously earned his chance to be a head coach again in the National Football League. So if he gets a lot of interviews, then I wish the best for him. I wish the best for him and his family regarding whatever decision he decides to make. But that game was as a defensive guy, as a defensive minded guy, I love seeing games like that where you just grind it out for a whole 60 minutes when you don't know who's going to win until the clock hits triple zeros, right? That is like games like that get me excited. It's not an offensive sexy game that many people around the league want to see, but someone like me, I can really appreciate that. And the Saints defense was clicking on all three levels. Starting with the defensive line, Cameron Jordan had a monster comeback, and I knew he was going to be frustrated after having his Iron Man streak snapped because of COVID-19 protocols. He was asymptomatic. He shouldn't have been ruled out for the game against the Jets, but he used that motivation to put Tom Brady in a chokehold, in a proverbial chokehold. 2 sacks and a forced fumble, one of 2 turnovers created by the Saints in that game, and it just proves that the Saints, at least in terms of defense, has Tom Brady's number, including in the postseason when they played in the divisional round. Tom Brady had his worst showing in that 2020 postseason in the divisional round against the Saints. It was just the Bucs won the turnover battle 4-0, and they gave the Bucs offense great field position every time. So if they had just cut down on the turnovers, the Saints would have been walking out of there with a proverbial W. And that's what irritates many Saints players and a handful of Saints fans, and they know that. So shout out to Cam Jordan, having a monster return game after that unfortunate end to his Iron Man streak. And what about Marcus Davenport getting in on the fun? Marcus Davenport was terrorizing the Bucs O-line. Marcus Davenport graded out to be the best defensive lineman for the Saints in that game with an 83.6, an 83.6 PFF grade by Pro Football Focus. Shout out to Marcus Davenport. I thought he was going to be, coming into ruled out with some sort of injury because he looked slow getting up a couple of times, but he had grit. I'm so grateful for that, because without Marcus Davenport, I don't think Cam Jordan would have had the night that he had. Marcus Davenport was a monster force, especially when pressuring up the middle alongside Devion Yamada, who also had a really good game. He came away with 2 QB hits and a sack for his efforts. He should have had 2 sacks, to be honest, but Tom Brady got the ball out of his hands, but it was defended well by Paulson Adebo. We'll get into the same secondary in a second, but that D-line, it had a night. It had itself a night, and that's the type of performance we hope to see Monday night against the Miami Dolphins, and a more, I would say, a less talented Tua Tagovailoa. Now, the middle of the pack, the Saints linebackers, Quan Alexander had himself a solid game. I say he had a better game than Demario Davis did. Demario Davis had 2, I believe 1 or 2 missed tackles. Very uncharacteristic of him, but that's kind of like the underlying story that's not talked about with Demario Davis. Ever since that game against Seattle, he hasn't looked himself out, but that's probably because he has too much on his plate, or they're scheming against him, whatever the case may be. But he's not hurting the team. He's one of the best middle linebackers around the league. So I'm not too mad about it. I just hope Demario Davis can shake whatever funk he may be in, because I'm definitely noticing a small dip in his production. You don't see Demario Davis missing tackles all that often, especially going into this year. So, but Quan Alexander was a guy that took over for the middle of the pack, and I'm honestly happy for that. Quan Alexander coming off that Achilles surgery, that Achilles injury in the Christmas game against the Vikings last season, and he really wanted to be back, and he's showing why he deserves a spot alongside Demario Davis and not rookie linebacker Pete Werner, who also had a pretty decent game in a coverage game. He had 1 missed tackle alongside, or I would say missed tackle. He had poor positioning when trying to defend Leonard Fournette out in the flat. He read it right. He knew where he was supposed to go. He took a poor angle, and that's just something that's going to be That's going to come with time, right? That's going to be coached up in time. Pete Warner's going to get there, but Pete Warner had himself had a pretty okay game with the limited snaps he had with his elbow injury. But the Saints linebackers they left their print all over that game for the most part, and I'm very, very pleased about that. Very, very pleased. Now the Saints secondary, that's the unit we got to talk about. Malcolm Jenkins held Rob Gronkowski to 2 catches yards off of 11 targets. That's insane for a veteran safety like Malcolm Jenkins. Shouts out to Malcolm Jenkins. CD Dews once again with the mind games, playing with the heads of Bucks offensive players, especially Tom Brady, with an iconic stare down, of Tom Brady. And, I actually have that as my wallpaper. I'll show you guys the wallpaper on Twitter. If you guys are on Twitter, follow me over there. Twitter handle is down in the description below. But CJ Gardner-Johnson had the second turnover of the night for the Saints with a game-sealing interception. He baited that throw perfectly as Tom Brady was rolling out to his right, trying to hit Scotty Miller on the run towards the sideline. You know, that great recovery speed, that seamless transition to make the interception. There are some things you just can't teach, and that's a unteachable moment. You either have the skill or you don't. CJ Gardner-Johnson had a monster game. Marcus Williams, he had a really good game. PJ Williams, he had a good game. And we're speaking of PJ Williams, we're going to talk about PJ Williams here, because PJ Williams is getting a lot of scrutiny from Bucks fans and social media regarding the hit on Chris Godwin. Where was all that rage for Devin White when he injured Jameis Winston, when he tore his ACL in the Halloween game on October 31st? Where was the outcry for that? Where was the outcry for that? I don't understand. I don't understand it. And most people, I wouldn't even say some, most people are trying to defend that high horse collar tackle by Devin White to Jameis Winston, saying it's a legal hit. If that was a legal hit, then PJ Williams' tackle is also a legal hit. PJ Williams wasn't intentionally trying to injure Chris Godwin. Shout out to Chris Godwin. I hope he bounces back soon, because I actually respect Chris Godwin in his game. Honestly, he's probably one of the better receivers on the Bucs offense. He's obviously better than, I would say, Mike Evans, who's in danger of having his first season without having 1,000 receiving yards. I don't know. Like, PJ Williams is getting a lot of unfair scrutiny, especially by Bucs media. Like, y'all won a Super Bowl last year. Y'all worried about the Saints? Like, I've never seen another fan base worry so much about the Saints than the Bucs over the last 365 days. It's absolutely comical. Absolutely, completely comical. So I just realized my internet was kind of suspect. Can you guys still see me? I hope you guys can still see me. I had no idea my internet was out. I'm having technical difficulties, but it looks like I'm fine. I'm seeing myself on YouTube. Okay, thank you guys. So as I was saying with PJ Williams, the scrutiny to PJ Williams is unfair. It's completely unfair to PJ Williams because, like I said, Devin White had that heinous ACL tear to Jameis Winston by tackling high, and his knee buckled the wrong way. Like, if everybody can defend Devin White for a tackle like that, then what's the idea? Or then what's the problem with PJ Williams in this tackle? It's not like he was actually trying to injure Chris Godwin, right? And I really hope Chris Godwin gets better. Like he recovers soon. I know he's gonna have a strong bounce back game. Bounce back showing of his career, because Chris Godwin is probably one of the most underrated, the most consistent receiver the Bucs have had, and I'm pretty sure he's going to get a really good payday. I think he's going to remain with the Bucs because there's no way the Bucs are going to roll with Antonio Brown after this season, after the controversy regarding the fake vaccination card that came out. I would say sometime last month, maybe even a month and a half ago. No way, no how. The Chris Godwin's going to get his payday, and he deserves it. Chris Godwin is a very, very good receiver. He's a very knowledgeable guy, strong hands, a reliable guy you want to throw the ball to every time he steps onto the field. So I'm not. I don't understand why Bucs fans are so preoccupied with the Saints. Like in general, like Bucs fans are just obsessed with us, even more so than Falcons fans, and that's kind of creepy when you really consider how much they talk about the Saints on their side of social media. Like I'm on Twitter a lot, and I see many Bucs fans just trying to at the Saints or tweet at Saints fans. It's absolutely comical. It's absolutely completely comical. Now, what does this mean for the Saints going forward? Now, the Saints are now with a record of 7-7. The Saints have their best shot to making the playoffs is to go 10-7, right? Like if they go 9-8, they're not ruled out, but they would need a lot to go in their favor, and the numbers just don't support that. They would need Philly to lose at least their last two or three games for the Saints to have a chance. And I don't think Philadelphia and their unique style of RPO run game is going to lose it's going to lose their last two or three, unless the Giants surprise us on Sunday and they come away with a sweep. I see Eagles going 9-8, if not 10-7. And that will depend and that final record will depend solely on the Dallas Cowboys. I think they're going to beat the Giants on Sunday. They're going to sweep Washington. That last game against Dallas is going to be very telling. If Dallas is going to rest their starters or not before the postseason, and if they do, I expect Philly to take full advantage of it. Because they don't want their best players getting needlessly injured against a division rival. They already are going into the playoffs, and I think they just need a win over Washington to secure the NFC East Championship division title. So I wouldn't bet my numbers, my whole stack of decks on that last game. I think the Eagles are going to go 10-7. If not that, then definitely 9-8. And they have the tiebreaker over the New Orleans Saints. They have the tiebreaker, and then there's other teams to consider also. Yes, you do have the tiebreaker over Washington. I'm not worried about Washington. I'm worried about Minnesota. But they may finish with a record of 8-9 because they have, the Los Angeles Rams coming up on Sunday, and then they have to face the Green Bay Packers again, which I believe is going to be at Lambeau Field or at home in Minnesota. Either way, I expect Green Bay to play the Vikings hard because they're still trying to fight for that one seed. I think they would wrap up the one seed with the win over the Minnesota Vikings. So I think the Vikings can go 8-9, but you never know. It's any given Sunday. They've beaten the Packers before, and I think they're going to again. I won't say that I think they are, but it's possible. You just never know. And you don't want to take that chance, right? You also got San Francisco 49ers, who are going into tonight's game with a record of 8-6. If I'm a Saints fan, and if you are a Saints fan, you want to root for the Tennessee Titans. You want to root for Tennessee to beat San Francisco because that would actually help the Saints. For the reason being, if Tennessee beats San Francisco, right, the San Francisco 49ers would drop down to 8-7, which would actually help the Saints, because assuming that they find a way to beat Miami and improve to 8-7. That means there would not be one spot remaining in the playoffs, but potentially two, the 6th seed and a 7th seed. because nothing would be deadlocked. It all depends on which version of Ryan Tannehill we're going to see tonight. And I think Ryan Tannehill is going to be in a fight of his life against that 49ers front led by Nick Bosa, who was on a tear throughout the league this year. So they do get A.J. Brown back, and they do get Julio Jones back, and they're going up against a 49ers pass defense that is ranked bottom of the league. They're 26 in passer rating and passer rating allowed, and they're 28th in completion percentage allowed. This is a game that really should favor the Tennessee Titans passing attack. AJ Brown is very, very hungry. If you guys have watched his social media, he has been chomping at the bit to get back on the field, and I think he's going to take advantage of that weak 49ers secondary. I think Tennessee is going to win this game. I think they're going to win. If they win this game, then the Saints have to do everything in their power to win on Monday against Miami. But they got a tall task ahead of them. They have a tall task ahead of them for the simple fact that COVID-19 has once again reared its ugly head, and the Saints now have 11 total players on the COVID-19 list, 9 as of today. And that's the second time that something like this has happened since the Saints have traveled to Florida. You guys remember after the home opener against Green Bay, which was over in Jacksonville, the Saints had a wide COVID outbreak, that affected not only players, but several members of coaching staff, assistant coaches, and the like. The Saints went on to play the Carolina Panthers in week 2, and they got decimated on the road. And I think that's Peyton Turner's only highlight game. But we'll get into that in a little bit. But this is another circumstance where the Saints go down to Florida, they beat a really good team, and they come back, and now they're rocked with COVID. I think it's very, very interesting. There's also the fact that Amari Cooper still shows signs and symptoms of still having COVID, but he was allowed to play against the Saints, and they had a couple players hit the COVID-19 list, I think, a week after. So there's also that incubation period of 2 weeks or so. There's also that to consider, but it's not a good look for the Saints. There are several players listed out for the New Orleans Saints. I'll pull up this list right here, and I'll let you guys hear who the Saints have out for, at least for the moment, right? Because NFL protocols state that there's a chance that some players, if they are asymptomatic, can test negative 2 times, and then they're allowed to come off the COVID-19 list. But for the moment, let me just read down this list of COVID players. I think it's by Adam Schefter. But as of today, I do know that quarterbacks Taysom Hill and Trevor Siemian, the quarterback room for the Saints, has been hit with COVID. Both of those quarterbacks are now on the reserve COVID-19 list. There is more to it. There is safety Malcolm Jenkins. There's offensive lineman and who has been filling in as the right tackle, as one of the tackles. Offensive lineman Jordan Mills, Christian Ringo, defensive tackle. Defensive end Jalen Holmes, who had that big play on a 3rd and 1 against Tampa Bay last week. Jalen Holmes is on the list. Backup safety Jeff Heath, who would have replaced Malcolm Jenkins. Linebacker Caden Ellis, and offensive lineman James Carpenter. What does this tell me? What does this tell us as Saints fans? This tells us that Ian Book is in trouble, because as of today, they did an estimation on who would have participated and who would have not. Then it looks like Teron Armstead and Check both did not participate today, or would not have in this case. If neither starting tackle is able to go Monday night against the Dolphins, then Ian Book is going to be in trouble against a defense led by Brian Flores, who loves to send safety blitzes or blitzes off the edge to really pressure the quarterback. You need competent tackles to help protect Ian Book's blind side. With Jordan Mills out, that leaves James Hurst and Caleb Benenoch as the only available starting tackles for the New Orleans Saints. Now, they still have, I believe they're going to bring back Will Clapp, but they also have worked out a couple of offensive tackles and a pair of defensive tackles earlier this week, after 2 days ago. I'm most likely going to see one of those names being Kyle Murphy. Kyle Murphy, an offensive lineman. I believe he's going to be called up from the practice squad if he's signed, and he may end up playing the left tackle position. We'll see. We don't know yet. Or maybe even the left guard position. We just don't know yet. We'll have to see what happens. But this is not an ideal spot for Ian Book to be in. I'm not envious of Ian Book at all. But many Saints fans are excited or interested in seeing what Ian Book has to offer the New Orleans Saints as a whole. And I can't blame those people. I can't blame those people at all, because Ian Book is the winningest quarterback in Notre Dame school history with a 30-5 overall record. He is a guy that is poised in the pocket. He has great pocket awareness. He is his main quality is being able to create out of the chaos, right? Create off-scripted plays. Those off-scripted plays should actually benefit him. But how much can we expect Ian Book to really be scrambling out of the pocket? I don't expect much of that at all, because he's the only quarterback left for the Saints right now. I don't expect Trevor Siemian and Taysom Hill to be back before Monday, because they both tested positive, which is one thing. Alvin Kamara would be the emergency quarterback, assuming they don't go sign another quarterback off the street and sign up and bring him up from the practice squad. So you don't want to expose Ian Book to any unnecessary hits, because in the event that he goes down, Alvin Kamara would have to step in as the emergency quarterback, and that would really be it. That would really be playoff chances, because they're not going to get in 9-8. I don't care what the numbers would say. I don't care if there's even a slim chance. There's no way the Saints are going to get into the playoffs with a record of 9-8. Philadelphia is not going to win. It's not going to lose 2 games. I just don't see that happening. Not with how their RPO offense is running right now. And yes, the last state, maybe a lot of RPOs. It's possible. Ian Book is good at that, but I'm not sure if that's a style of offense Sean Payton or Pete Carmichael was going to run for Ian Book. That's not their formula. It could happen, but I don't think it will. I just don't see it. I think Ian Book will survive. Defense will step up. Well, the defense is going to have to step up regardless. They had the best defensive showing of their entire season last week against Tampa, and they have to do so again against a less talented, less potent Miami offense. What's crazy? I looked it up, and it looks like Tua Tagovailoa is the most accurate quarterback this season with a completion percentage of 69.6%. I'm not kidding. Go look it up yourself. 69.6% going into the Jets game. Now, they may have fluctuated or declined a little bit, but the fact that he's labeled as one of the most accurate quarterbacks this season is astounding to me. And they're getting back Jalen Waddle, a wide receiver that Tua Tagovailoa has leaned on considerably. I would expect Jalen Waddle against Marshawn Lattimore. And then you take your chances with Devontae Parker, getting doubled by Bradley Roby / Paulson Adebo with Marcus Williams as safety help. I would expect that against Devontae Parker, because I believe Jalen Waddle is a guy that's going to match up against Marshawn Lattimore. Now, how he fares will remain to be seen, because it's one thing if Marshawn Lattimore is up against a physical receiver like a Mike Evans type or an AJ Brown type. It's another when a guy that's twitchy and elusive off the line of scrimmage like Jalen Waddle, I think is going to give Marshawn Lattimore a little bit of problems. So the defensive line is going to have to find ways to create pressure on Tua. Maybe bring in a couple of linebacker blitzes to get him off his spot. You have to make that guy uncomfortable. You can't let him sit in that pocket and pick you apart in the secondary, because someone's going to get open. But the X factor for the Dolphins is Mike Gesicki. Without Malcolm Jenkins on Monday, assuming he doesn't test negative, going forward from today. There is no, I mean, it's going to be interesting how they try to handle someone like Mike Gesicki, who is a very, very good tight end. Probably the most consistent tight end, I would say a top 5 tight end this season, especially if you have been in fantasy. If you have been in fantasy, good, congratulations. But Mike Gesicki is going to be a name that is going to be called a lot for the most part because, you know, Malcolm Jenkins is a guy that would cover the tight ends off the line of scrimmage. Even though I believe Malcolm Jenkins would have had struggle against a younger tight end like Mike Gesicki, but how are they going to account for 88? I have no idea, and that's an interesting part. I have no idea how they're going to account for Mike Gesicki, but they're going to have to. They have to take away Mike Gesicki, and they have to take away Jalen Waddle. If you take away Mike Gesicki and Jalen Waddle, you can take your chances with Devontae Parker. You know, I don't think Devontae Parker is going to consistently win at the line of scrimmage, especially against one-on-ones. I don't see that happening. But you have to take away Jalen Waddle and Mike Gesicki however you can. And the pressure is going to have to be there. You know, they still have Cameron Jordan. They still have Marcus Davenport. And they still have Davion Yamada. They also have Shy Tuttle. And without Jalen Holmes, it looks like Carl Brandis is going to have to up his game. He's going to have to up his game. He really is. There's also going to have to be some other guys going to have to step up for the Saints. I would have to say, I would have to say Shy Tuttle. I would say Shy Tuttle, maybe Malcolm Roach gets the call up. Though one of those two guys is going to step up in the passing game. They have to step up in the passing game. They have to help create pressure. I mean, they just have to. If they don't, then Tua's going to pick them apart. It starts up front, always. It always starts up front. Now, offensively, Callaway is going to have a recall performance from last week. Last week, Callaway went for 6 catches for 112 yards. He being the first Saints receiver to break over 100 receiving yards in a game this season, putting him over 500 total receiving yards on the year, 555 off 36 receptions. That is really good for an undrafted wide receiver from Tennessee. A lot of you guys don't like Marquez Callaway. A lot of you guys have told me that he's trash. He's not worth anything. Well, those numbers say otherwise. 36 receptions, 555 yards, and 6 receiving touchdowns. 6 receiving touchdowns. That is the makings of a complimentary player. But Marquez Callaway is going to have to have a recall performance. He has to take advantage of the fact that the Dolphins secondary is not good against the pass. You know, Ian Book's going to have to find a way to get Marquez Callaway involved, whether it be in a short game or an intermediate game. He's going to have to step up again. He's going to have that type of night for the Saints to succeed because they're going to try to stack the box. They know they're going to most likely take away the run game. They're going to make Ian Book one-dimensional, right? They're going to take away Mark Ingram. They're going to take away Alvin Kamara. They're going to take away that ground game because they know they're going to force Ian Book to throw them to victory. They're going to force Ian Book to throw them to victory. So can Ian Book do that? Remains to be seen. But Callaway's got to lead the way. He's got to have a repeat performance. He has to. He has no other choice but to. And I hate it for him because that's not an ideal situation to be in. Like the Saints season, it rests on his shoulders. It rests on his shoulders. Let's read a couple of comments here, man. Let's read a couple of comments and scroll up, and then we will see what we have. Bucks fans still crying because Saints swept them. Man, I don't understand that. I really don't, OG. I don't understand that at all. Like, you won a Super Bowl. And you're still worried about what the Saints do. Where was that outrage when Devin White injured Jameis Winston? There was no outrage, not from Bucks fans that claim to have respect for Jameis, and most definitely not from, national media as a whole, trying to talk about, don't hit a guy in the knees. That's how they make their money. Well, where else are they supposed to hit guys? They can't hit up top, and they can't hit down low. Micah Parsons said it best. So we stop playing tackle football. Like the game has been tailored to favor offenses so much that it's almost impossible to play defense. PJ Williams just made a clean legal hit on Chris Godwin. It's just unfortunate that it ended in an ACL tear, but you did what you honestly you wouldn't have known that by how he was able to walk off under his own power. But it is what it is. You have to be able to respect the fact that it was a legal hit. It was just an unfortunate circumstance. And if Bucks fans want to cry about that, then they have to take away the fact they have to acknowledge that it was a dirty hit by Devin White on Jameis Winston. That's where I'm at. Bucks are the Bucks. Imagine they lost 3 straight. Look, if the Bucks lose 3 straight and the Saints find a way to win Monday night, do you guys know what that would mean? That would mean that the Saints would have a chance at claiming the division. Now, granted, they would play the New York Jets the week after that, but it's still any given Sunday. But if the Saints win Monday and the Bucks lose on Sunday, then there's a really good chance the Saints could win the division. Like another avenue for the playoffs would open up to them. So that's something to think about. Titans won't win this game. Trust me, they got Debo and Kittle. I mean, it's possible, but they have a really stingy secondary. What makes 49ers so good is they're able to be completely physical and especially in the run game. The run game, it sets up the play action for them. And you know how Kyle Shanahan likes to pound it with his running backs to set up all those throws to his wide receivers over the middle of the field. But the Titans are one of the best run defenses, one of the best run defenses in the NFL this year. They are tied for third and yards per I would say yards per carry this season, and they are averaging 86, 87 yards rushing yards per game. They are a top 10 run defense this year, maybe even top 5. I think top 5. So I don't see the run game for the 49ers being impactful the way Kyle Shanahan hopes it would, which means Jimmy Garoppolo is going to have to throw them to victory. And I like the Titans secondary better than I do the 49ers secondary with AJ Brown, even Julio Jones, even though he can give you at least 2 good catches, right? He can give you 2 good catches before his hamstring probably gives way again. It's possible. My girl's a Niners fan, so I know a lot about that team. I'm sure. All right, let me scroll down just a little bit. As a person who lives in Florida, go figure. Man, look, that's crazy, man. It's like every time, I noticed that as soon as this group came out that Taysom Hill and Trevor Siemian were out with COVID. Like it's every time. Whenever the Saints go down to Florida, they come back and they have a outbreak of COVID cases. Now, the only difference is it's happening all around the league. The Houston Texans have 23 players on COVID-19 list so far, where the Saints only have 11. A lot of those are like backup players, so on and so forth, which kind of hurts considering that they rely on their depth, but it is what it is. But it's just really unfortunate. It's just really unfortunate and very convenient that it happens every time they come back from Florida. Like there's something about Florida and the Saints that just don't go well together. It really just doesn't. The Titans lose by 7 market, bro. Sucks, but that's what will happen. We can't bet our money on Titans winning. Niners defense been locking it down, so I don't see them winning tonight. Well, like I said, bro, that depends on which type of Ryan Tannehill we see tonight. I'm not saying the Titans are going to win. I'm saying I just like the Titans' chances against that 49ers secondary and their run defense taking away a strength of the 49ers offense, just for them to be physical. I don't see Elijah Mitchell coming into this game, actually at all, because I think he's still injured. But whoever is running the ball, I don't see them winning at the line of scrimmage to set up those play actions by Kyle Shanahan. I just don't see it. Now it's any given football day, right? So they could still lose, But I like the Titans in this game. For some reason I just like them. I can only hope, man. Okay. Thank goodness Trevor isn't starting. Speaking of quarterbacks, I'm going to say it. I'm going to make some people mad. I'm going to make some people unpleasantly mad. But Taysom Hill did not win that game for the Saints on Sunday. In fact, I will go as far as to say Taysom Hill played below average against the Bucs on Sunday. Here's the reason why. Taysom Hill, I wrote in my article that Taysom Hill did not light up the stat sheet, but he was efficient at taking care of the football. And he was. No turnovers to speak of. No interceptions. No fumbles lost or no fumbles at all. But Taysom Hill just showed that he's not quarterback material. Like, he'll win you a couple of games, sure. But he nearly had 2 interceptions in that game. One of which should have most definitely have been picked by the safety Adams. Adams has dropped it. Hill should have had no TDs, potentially 2 interceptions, 1 definite, with a even worse passer rating than he had. He had, I would say, two okay throws, but 1 really good throw, and that was a 42-yard deep throw to Marquez Callaway. I'll give Taysom Hill that. That was incredible soft touch on the ball. But you have to do more than just being able to throw a deep ball to impress me or anybody that watches offense. Taysom Hill had a wheel route from Adam Prentice up the right sideline, and he completely missed him, for example. That would have been a big gainer to set up the Saints inside the 15. And he completely missed him trying to hit Adam Troutman with a safety draped all over him. Taysom Hill couldn't hit Callaway on inside slants. For whatever reason, Taysom just doesn't see the whole field. Taysom Hill runs into pressure. He created worse situations than he probably should have. The offensive line actually did its job for the most part in protecting Taysom Hill in that game. But he's too antsy. He's too wanting to run outside of the pocket, scramble to his right, and try to create some off-scripted stuff. He doesn't know how to settle in and play inside the pocket or step up inside of the pocket or just make a throw knowing he's going to get hit. Taysom Hill did not win that game for the Saints against Tampa. He was just the reason why they didn't lose. He made the throws he needed to make, for the most part. And then he mostly just stayed out of the way. He stayed out of the way and let the defense do its thing. And that's okay, because that was enough for them to come away with a shutout victory. But going forward, that game did not inspire a lot of confidence and me saying Taysom is the future starter for the Saints. And that's gonna irritate a couple of Saints fans that are all behind Taysom Hill. Some people are going to say, hey, but he still has a split on his finger. Those things are like, those throws are going to happen, right? He has a split on his finger. I don't care about the split on his finger, because Hill showed on that deep throw to Callaway that he can put touch on the ball. He can throw with accuracy if he wants to, but he chooses not to. So either he chooses not to, or he's just too inconsistent. I would lean more he's just too inconsistent, more than he just doesn't want to, because if he doesn't want to, then that's even worse, right? So I'm sorry to everybody that's rooting for Taysom Hill to be the quarterback of the future, but I don't see that happening. I don't. And if Ian Book, even though I'm not saying he's going to, because the deck is really stacked against him, but what happens if Ian Book comes into this situation Monday night and has an even better performance than Taysom Hill? What if Ian Book puts together a better performance in his first career start than Taysom Hill over a last period stretch of games? What happens then? What would that tell you? What would that tell you? Being put in a worse situation, potentially without either starting tackle, with COVID-19 most likely, still looming in Saints locker room. What if he comes in here Monday night against the Miami Dolphins defense that loves to blitz, loves to create pressure? What if he has a better performance overall? What would that tell you about Taysom Hill? Just keep it like that. I'm not saying he's going to. I'm not saying it's a definite because Ian Book has up to like it's a big situation to step in. But if he does, I'm just saying, Elite. What's with all the rainbows? Is this a special day? Good question. I have no idea. Someone who believes in Taysom Hill as a franchise quarterback, I can see how you don't or you wouldn't. What this rainbow who believes Taysom coming from someone who believes Taysom Hill is a franchise quarterback, I can see how you don't or wouldn't know what this rainbow means. I have no idea what's going on here, but that's weird. Tua won't look good Monday night. Our D line coming. I would hope so. I would sincerely hope so. Cam Jordan has to show that Sunday night performance wasn't just a flash in the pan. Elite, you're weird. I just asked you a question. I not going to read that. Not going to read that. Not going to read that. I don't see Tampa Bay losing Sunday to Carolina. I don't either, but it's possible, right? Because look at what the Saints did with just Taysom Hill. Look what they did with Taysom Hill. And look what the Saints defense did. Now, statistically, the Panthers defense is better than the Saints defense this season. And I believe that. I believe the Panthers defense this season is better than the Saints. And look what the Saints did to Tom Brady. The one thing that stands out to me when I'm talking about the Panthers defense is speed. Hassan Reddick, Brian Burns, Derek Brown anchoring the middle, even Uzo Gross-Matos being that rotational player. The middle of the pack, Jermaine Carter, Shaq Thompson, Jeremy Chin, Dante Jackson, Stephon Gilmore, AJ Bouye. Like that defense flies around the field. And I mean, they fly, bro. They fly everywhere. I think that defense for the Panthers matches up well against the Bucs offense. Now, it'll depend on what type of performance the Carolina Panthers offense gives them. If the Carolina Panthers offense doesn't give them enough complementary style play, then the Bucs definitely can win this game, even though it would be a low scoring affair. I don't think Tom Brady lights up that defense. I think it's going to be a low scoring affair. I will say for now that the Bucs win by 3. Even though they're supposed to be a 10-point, 11-point favorite in the books, I say they win by 3. But I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina finds a way to pull out a win because their defense is just that good. If our defense carries us to victory against the Bucs who were at home, I expect the Carolina Panthers offense to try to replicate that same formula because they have the personnel to do so. They have Jeremy Chin. They have their Marcus Williams and Jeremy Chin. They have their Demario Davis and Shaq Thompson. They have their pass rushers. They have their Cameron Jordan and Marcus Davenport and Brian Burns and Hassan Reddick. They have their Marshawn Lattimore and Stephon Gilmore this year. I think they match up well. But it all depends on the offense. For right now, I'll say the Bucs win by 3. But if Carolina finds a way to win, then that really helps the Saints. It really would. You just don't know. You just don't know what happens on any given Sunday. I hate to say that to the Saints fan, but I'm speaking the truth. Hey, that's fine, brother. Saints D won that game in Tampa. I agree. I hear you. Taysom needs more games and experience. Not sure how the finger tear is affecting the game. I will concede that playing with a splint is not a fun thing, is not a comfortable thing. But as I said, the fact that he's able to put touch on the ball still to connect with Marquez Callaway for a 42-yard gain shows me he is more than capable of doing and throwing with anticipation, throwing with accuracy. He has shown that he can do it. He just hasn't put it together. That shows inconsistency. And that doesn't inspire a lot of confidence in me that he could be the future. Taysom looked shook in the second half. He absolutely did. He absolutely did. This guy, hey, I'm just saying, man. He did win half the game. How else are you going to score 9 points? Well, fortunately, the Bucs were god awful against the Saints defense. Otherwise, scoring 9 points wouldn't get you anywhere. I mean, anywhere. The Bucs are more of a physical offense than they are a speedy offense, right? And they match up well because of the level of physicality. Like, they match up well, physical against physical. As we've seen throughout this season, they get outplayed by speedy guys. Sometimes guys they never even heard of. It's all about matchups, and they just have the better matchup in that instance. VASF Tech, I have no idea what this means. What happens then is Ian Book, time for me to get Jamison Taysom. Oh, possibly so, man. Possibly so. Taysom is not a QB, but he is an athlete. He is definitely an athlete. He is most certainly an athlete. Jameis one. Hey yo. Jameis one of one. Hey yo. Hey yo. Hey yo. Oh, Jameis 101. My guy. What's up? I'm a huge fan of your work on Twitter, dude. What is going on? Thank you for stopping by. Dudes. I follow him on Twitter, y'all. Jameis 101 found my YouTube channel. He found my YouTube channel. That's insane. Oh my God, bro. Bro, this is dope. Taysom deserves credit for being a warrior, but the finger, yeah. Jameis had back-to-back 450-plus yard, 4+ touchdown games. Both wins with a torn meniscus and broken hand in 2019. That's absolutely true. Yo, Jameis 101. Thank you so much for tuning into the channel. I hope you're enjoying. Thank you so much for stopping by. You are an awesome dude. I love talking to you on Twitter whenever I get the chance to, guys. If you guys don't know who Jameis 101 is, he is the reason why I became a believer of Jameis Winston in the first place. Go follow him on Twitter. If you guys have a Twitter, go follow him. He is the reason why I want Jameis Winston back with the Saints. That is absolutely sick, man. I gotta run one of the tune in real quick. Great show. Keep up the good work, young man. Thank you so much, bro. I gotta get you on the show sometime. If you ever come back and you see the rest of the show, I'm going to say right now, I hope I can get you onto the podcast as a special guest. This is insane, guys. Oh Lord, this is awesome. This is straight awesome. I can't believe it. This is nuts. Cam Armstrong. I feel like this is the biggest question for our offseason. What's our QB first game of 2022? No idea. That will be a question to look at in the offseason. Not going to read those. If you set bot accounts in the chat, if you see bot accounts in the chat, don't worry, I got that covered. I appreciate you, OG. I appreciate you, OG. People can want for Jameis to be starting for the playoff push for Taysom Hill. If we can make it the biggest tell of the season, Taysom Hill, it'll be crazy. Look, if Taysom Hill can pull it off, then major kudos for Taysom if he can pull that off. I'm gonna if the Saints can find a way into the playoffs, then it'll be a successful season, even if they don't make it to the big dance, right? Because the Saints aren't a Super Bowl or bust team anymore. At least not right now. They're a retooling offense. They just lost their Hall of Fame quarterback. Like, they were not going to make it to the Super Bowl this season anyway. So if they can at least make it to the playoffs, right, with all the stuff they've had to go through, earlier in the year with the hurricane and being displaced for a month, and they can find a way into the playoffs, it'll be a successful season. It'll be a wild, successful season for the Saints, considering everything they've went through. If you, since y'all don't know about the rainbow, it means y'all sleep on Ian. It's the rainbows that you'll see this coming up Monday. You know, I actually do appreciate that clarity. You need some mods in here. Hey, I definitely would agree with that. I agree with that, but I have no idea how to make mods. If someone can hit me up on either my social media, either on Instagram, YouTube, in the comment section, or even Twitter, you guys can hit me up on either 3 platforms. You guys can let me know how I can make mods here. Then I will most definitely allow mods here on the channel. I know OG is going to be one. My OG Jerry Port, he's got to be a mod, man. He's got to be a mod. OG Jerry Port's got to be a mod because he's been here since day one. Day one. Elite Goods might be a mod too. If you guys know how I can make mods here on a YouTube channel, then let me know because I will definitely make mods. I'm not sure if that's a perk thing or what. Then I am most definitely here for it. Let's click one of our names. They'll give you an option. Click one of the names. They'll give you an option. I'm not seeing the option. Click one of our names to give you the option. I'm not seeing it. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Go to channel, hide user, put user timeout. Hey, you know what? Hey, that's crazy. Hey, that's crazy. Hey, that's crazy. He right though. Hey, that's right. He right though. Hey, he right though. Hey, he right though. That's crazy. Hey, that's crazy, yo. I appreciate that. You have to do it on your phone. I actually found a way to do it. I have another tab for my podcast here. I have another tab on my computer, and I just made Jerry Poor. I made Jerry Poor a mod. So congrats, OG. You finally made it to a mod status. Long time, Aaron. Good to see you, bro. At work, just peeping in for a second. Damien, my bro. It's so good to see you, man. How you been? How's the family been? Hope you guys staying safe out here in this wild times of the Omicron variant of COVID. Hope you guys staying safe. Good to see you, brother. Make that bread, bro. Gotta make the bread. We all gotta do it. Congrats on figuring it out. Thank you very much. Thank you. I will be adding more mods going forward. Don't worry. OG's not going to be the only mod here on the channel, right? So I appreciate everybody. I appreciate the Last Saint helping me figure out how I can make mods. But that's all I've got to say for now. It is now time for me to put the link down into the chat and let people call in. The phone lines are officially open for everybody who wants to give their thoughts on either the Bucks game or the game coming up against Miami or the COVID situation. You guys, this time is now yours. I hope you guys take advantage of it. I'd love to see you hear what you guys have to say before we get up out of here. I'll take 3 callers. I will take 3 callers before we get up out here to watch the 49ers and Tennessee Titans game. We got the first dude of the night, the Last Saint, my boy, the Taysom Advocate. What's up, my guy? How you doing?
Oh, he funny. He funny. What's going on, man?
Look, it be what it be, man. It be what it be.
Nah, man, I ain't got no problem with it, man. As long as we win, right now I'm jumping off the Taysom Hill train. I'm on the Ian Book train. The lost book of the Bible, the 66 verses. The book of Ian, man. Let's go.
Let's go. Let it be on record. The Taysom Advocate, the Last Saint, is jumping off the Taysom train. He's jumping on the Ian Book hype. He's on the train, guys.
Because Taysom Hill out. That's the only reason why.
Hey. He's still hopping off the train, y'all. Y'all hearing it right here. Because y'all seen him come in here talk about Taysom. He wanted to come here and run the smoke with me after winning it against Tampa. He wanted to run the smoke. He ready
Show
to
it,
run
dude.
his mouth.
Have some faith. Have some faith in your brother. Have some faith as a saint. You know.
Oh man. Well, yo, look, let me get your thoughts real quick on this COVID situation for the New Orleans
Yeah.
Saints. We got like 11 players total out right now because of because of COVID, tested positive for COVID. Taysom Hill, Trevor Siemian, Malcolm Jenkins. I don't see how the Saints overcome all this in such a short amount of time. But it's any given Sunday. The Miami Dolphins aren't that good in their back end.
Right.
So what are your thoughts on this whole COVID-19 situation, and what do the Saints need to do to overcome it?
Well, I'll say good news. You know, in the face of the bad news, is that Trevor Siemian is on the COVID-19 protocol. So thankfully, he's not starting.
Damn.
You know, thankfully he's not starting. You know, but it does suck that you got to throw Ian Book in because you know this Monday night football game is really really serious, man. This is playoff implications right here. And, you know, as a casual as Notre Dame fan, you know, very casual as a Notre Dame fan, Ian Book can do his job, man. You know, what I liked about last Sunday night game versus the Bucs, I liked in the second half how Pete Carmichael made Taysom Hill stay in the pocket and read through his progressions. You know, looking through all the reads in the first half, not sure what the hell happened in the second half. Because it was like the defense made the adjustments and, you know, Taysom Hill just started panicking. You know, he just started panicking. He just started running out into pressure and all that. Ian Book, I want him to do some RPOs. I want him to stay in the pocket and scan the field. You know, I'm not worried about this defense at all. This defense has gelled. You know, it's time. You know, I don't know where the defense was in the 0-4. In the 0-5 stretch when we lost 5 games straight, but I feel we back now with the defense. And regarding the tackles, man, this offensive line is going to have to step up big time, man. They did it against the Bucs, who is like the ranked 9 defense. I mean, the Bucs are one of the main reasons why, you know, they are 10-4, or they were 10-3 before meeting us. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, Ian Book got to look at that field. He got to stretch that field. Marquez Callaway is going to be the wide receiver that's got to step up, man. He's got to step up big time. You know, he fell off in the second half, too. I know there were throws that were missed by Taysom Hill, and I also know there were throws that were dropped, too. But Marquez Callaway going off with that 100-yard game, he's the only Saints wide receiver to have a 100-yard game this season, man. That shit funny to me. Let
it be known that Marquez Callaway, an undrafted guy in Tennessee, is the first between he and Traquan Smith to have over 500 career receiving yards in the season. Just saying. Traquan Smith has barely over 300 this season. Callaway has 555 with 6 touchdowns. That what? Not 1 or 2, 3, 4, 6. And everybody wanted to hop on my case saying that Marquez Callaway ain't shit. My guy, those numbers tell me that he's a complimentary player. Callaway could finish with 800 total receiving yards if he builds off of last week's game. That's a big if, but he can finish with over 800.
Right, Marquez Callaway, man, is a deep threat too. We just haven't been using him like that. And I think I think Marquez Callaway is going to be he's going to be going out deep for Ian Book, man. You know, Ian Book got a horn. You know, don't try to down talk Ian Book. You know what I'm saying? I've seen him play. I've seen the highlights and the lowlights. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I believe you. Like the one thing that's scary for me is his throwing mechanics. Like that's it. That's the only thing I'm worried about. It's his throwing mechanics. All right, let me ask you one more question before I let you go because we have another caller and I'm trying to watch this game to see who's gonna win. Yo, final score prediction for Monday night. Who do you got winning and by what?
Okay, man. I'll say this and I'll get off of the other guys, man. Look, this game, man, I think it's gonna be low scoring, just like the last game. But in this case though, I think we get touchdowns because that Miami defense, although it is good, it's not as good as the Buccaneers. That look, that Miami defense was catching hell by the Jets, and we ain't let up when we played the Jets, which is really pathetic. You know what I'm saying? But scoring prediction wise, I'll throw out a random number. I'll say 14 to 10, in the Saints' favor. 14 to 10.
14-10 Saints favor. Okay. I can kind of see that. Can kind of see that. If the Saints defense steps up and offense still being anemic for the Saints, I can see that. Hopefully I'm proven wrong so I can come back here and catch smoke again.
Yeah, hope so, bro. I got you.
I know you do. All right, bro. I gotta let you go as always. I appreciate you calling in. Call back at any time, my man.
All right.
That's the last Saint, everybody. Last Saint. I appreciate him always. He's an OG here of a BG Breakdown podcast, just like Jerry Poor. We got a second caller here. It's my one and only, one of these here, Cam Armstrong. What is going on, Cam?
What's up, BG?
Another day, another dollar. Ain't nothing changed except the weather. You know how it be.
It's my first time calling in.
As always, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you being here since day one also. All right, Cam, look, we got a huge test ahead of us between fighting once again fighting COVID and another NFL team. Ian Book getting his first start. What are your thoughts about Ian Book making his first NFL debut against the Miami Dolphins?
I watched some of his college highlights, and he looks pretty solid. He looks poised in the pocket, and he looks perfect for a starting QB job.
Poised in the pocket. That's one of the things that I was kind of worried about outside of his throwing mechanics. He does have great pocket awareness. He knows when to escape, not to take unnecessary hits, scramble and make off-script plays. He's very athletic. That's one of the things that stood out to me. A lot of guys don't realize he can be just as physical as Taysom Hill, just not as fast. But you don't need to be the fastest guy to be to be a playmaker, right?
Exactly.
You can just keep ahead of the stakes and just continue to grind out those yards and eventually get within score distance. That's pretty much all you need. And Ian Book can provide that, assuming Pete Carmichael and Sean Payton allow him to scramble outside the pocket on a couple of plays and not keep him inside just because he's pretty much your only real quarterback at the moment. Like, you can't be afraid. You're still fighting for a playoff spot.
I'm excited to see him.
A lot of people are, but I don't find this personally favorable. I don't think it's fair for him to step into the situation because the Saints' playoff hopes rest on his shoulders and what he's able to provide. Even though we're not a Super Bowl contending team this year, I had to imagine the nerves are piling up for Ian Book.
Right.
All right, Cam, I got one other question for you, man. Cam Jordan had the game of his life this season against Tampa with 2 sacks and a forced fumble, 1 or 2 turnovers created by the Saints defense. And now he's facing a younger, more athletic Tua Tagovailoa. And they're going to be without Jalen Holmes because of COVID.
Oh.
The defense is going to have to take over this game led by Cam Jordan, but assuming Cam Jordan doesn't get going, what other guy on a defensive line do you see needing to make a strong impact?
Well, assuming Marcus Davenport's healthy, I'm hoping it's him. But if not, Big O, David Onyemata, he's the best this season. He's been so helpful for us.
Marcus Davenport was limited in per estimations with a shoulder injury, but he was limited last week. He still played, came away with a sack. So it's not like the Saints are going into this like completely hobbled. I expect Marcus Davenport to be here. I expect Onyemata to be here. I definitely agree with Onyemata. I think that interior pressure is going to be something that they have to replicate like they did last week. I wouldn't go to the well too many times because they're going to prepare for it, I think. But Onyemata, creating pressure on that line would be huge for the Saints and getting Tua uncomfortable back there in the pocket, because I believe you leave him back there too long, that he's going to pick you apart in the secondary, especially without Malcolm Jenkins being available, assuming he doesn't test negative going forward. Mike Gesicki is a guy that they're going to have to really pay attention to. I believe he's an X factor going into this game because right now they have nobody to account for him outside of maybe Quan Alexander, maybe Demario Davis. But speaking of guys to watch out for, Are there any other Miami Dolphins players that you see the Saints needing to pay real close attention to?
Jalen Waddle. He's fast. I think he will be a good matchup versus Marshawn.
Jalen Waddle versus Marshawn. You don't see Devontae Parker, a more physical guy, lining up against Marshawn?
I think they will switch back and forth a few times, but I'm hoping it's Marshawn.
Marshawn against a twitchy receiver in Jalen Waddle. It could be a fun matchup. I mean, I definitely can see it. My fear with that is that Marshawn Lattimore does better against more physical receivers than guys that are twitchy and elusive off the line of scrimmage. We've seen how that plays out between Marshawn and guys off the line like
Mike Evans and
no
all that.
Mike. I mean, Mike Evans is a more physical guy than a burner.
Right.
But I definitely hope Marshawn stays on the top of his game against whoever he lines up on. But my final question to you before we get up out of here as a whole, what is your score prediction for this Monday Night Football matchup, and who do you have coming away with the W?
All right. My score prediction is 21-16. I got the Saints coming out on top. I like Ian Book.
21-16.
I don't know how the score is going to project out, but I hope Ian Book has a good game, and so do the Saints.
21-16. Ian Book scoring 21 points. Oh, that's
I have faith.
quite the claim.
I have faith.
I mean, okay, I hear you. But just know, if we come here Tuesday, if we come here with a loss, I'm looking for you. I'm going to be looking for you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. If I'm gonna put myself out there on the chopping block for everybody to come roast me, I'm gonna be looking for you. I'm gonna be looking for you. So
I'll be back in that stream.
Okay, you better be here. Because if not, I'm gonna find you. I will.
Don't worry about it.
All right, bet. But and all this seriousness, brother, I appreciate you calling in. I hope you had a fun time. We're going to get up out of here. I hope you enjoyed tonight's game. As always, and most of all, stay safe out there.
All right, thank you. You too.
Always, brother, always. Cam Armstrong, another OG here on the B&G Breakdown podcast. Hope he calls back again more often. But that's going to do it for today's episode of the B&G Breakdown podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Tuesday, we will be here with Nicole. Yes, I know you guys missed Nicole. I miss Nicole too. She has an awesome voice. I love her. We're going to be back here Tuesday, either Tuesday morning or Tuesday evening. We will work that out. Look for news on that over on Twitter. If you guys are following us on Twitter, the Twitter handles for us are going to be down in the description. Let us know. Let us know your thoughts after Monday night's game and how you're feeling and all that. But for now, I'll see you guys next time, Tuesday after the game. And as always, if you guys don't know, you will know that over here, we bleed black and gold until we are dead and cold. Enjoy Thursday Night Football, San Francisco versus